right, everybody, let's gather around and get ready for creation class. All right. Welcome to the Revival Baptist Church creation class, where we learn about God's creation and glorify Him because of the wonders that we see. All right, our memory verse coming in from last time. Some of you have already said, but if anyone wants to say it again this evening, you can. Deuteronomy 32:1. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. If you remember last time, it was on sound, the creation of sound. Next month's memory verse will be Luke 21:27. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. All right, here we are, lesson number 20 already. All right, we're going to be talking about weather. It's going to be exciting, maybe. In the beginning, God created weather. That's part of His creation. Genesis 1:14 says, And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years. But wait, what does seasons have to do with weather? Well, as we see what we would know as representations of the four seasons, seasons are a period of a year marked by specific weather conditions, temperatures, and the length of days. So we can understand we're in a different season by those different markers. The Bible specifically mentions two seasons, summer and winter, but I believe it infers all four of the seasons that we recognize today. So we know of the four that we would think of, summer, winter, fall, and spring. And the Bible mentions two of them, but I think we can see where all of them are kind of mentioned. So Genesis 8:22 says, While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So there you have your summer and winter, your direct naming of the two seasons. But Job 38:27 says this, To satisfy the desolate and waste ground, and to cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth. So there's a point in the seasons where things bud, they spring forth, which is why we call that time of year spring. And then in Matthew 24:32 it says this, Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So if you refer back to Job 38:27, when things are springing, they're budding, well, this is talking about summer nigh. So it's not quite summer yet, but things are beginning to grow. They're putting forth leaves, they're budding. So I would consider that springtime. Proverbs 25:13 says, As the cold of snow in the time of harvest. So it's mentioning snow in the time of harvest as something that's an outlier. It's not normal to have snow in a time of harvest. And that would be kind of in between the summer and the winter, which would be what we would call the fall. That's when you can have a snowfall that would seem to be out of season for winter. So it's kind of the in-betweens of the summer and the winter. Now, what could the weather have been like in the beginning? Have you ever thought about that? The Garden of Eden before sin, or maybe, thereafter shortly, how the weather may have been? I've often thought about that. So, before the flood, the earth may have been perpendicular to its orbit around the sun. Now, if this were true and the earth was not tilted at its 23.5 degrees, we would experience a more temperate climate. The equatorial regions would experience a spring-like climate, and the poles would experience a fall-like climate all year. There would still be seasons, of course, but they would not be chronologically experienced, but geographically experienced. So basically what that means is, instead of the earth being tilted, it's going to be straight up and down, perpendicular to the way it goes around the sun. And basically, that gives you a very moderate temperature range in the here, and then cooler temperature ranges here. So you still have summer-like feelings here and more like fall and winter. there. So it wouldn't be the time of the year that the seasons would change. It would actually be where on the globe that you are that you'd experience different weather patterns. Why do you think the earth was perpendicular to its orbit around the sun? That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. Well, Isaiah 45:18 says, "For thus saith the Lord that created the